So back to the Havana Syndrome. So what you are suggesting is that there may be some kind of secret weapon that's projecting a kind of a wavelength of signals to the people, targeting individuals, and then to especially the people who are mostly suggestible, they're prone to having this kind of weapon having effect on them. So what would be the rest of the people who are not suggestible? Do they have symptoms, or are they okay,
Yeah.
or is this weapon like targeted to a specific group of people or people having common traits?
Okay. So the reason I address the high suggestibility issue with these victims is because there are a couple of cases here in the United States. One was Aaron Alexis, and then the other one was Myron May. One of them, they both contacted me before they did this horrible, horrific act. They went and there was a Navy Yard shooting. I think like 16 people were killed there. And then down in Florida, there was the university, or people were killed in the research department. Now, this was happening to them. They were complaining of these symptoms. But and when this happens in the beginning, you're in a fight or flight state. And so you're either in constant fear or you're angry about what you believe has happened to you. Both of them were in this state, but I can tell that they were determined to do something. They were impatient. I explained to them, yes, I can help you, but this isn't a quick fix. This is a long-term journey, but you're going to have to need to do some steps. And neither one of them wanted to go through that process. So they went and acted out themselves. They were highly suggestible. And so I found that this is the subgroup that we need to address and bring resources to immediately. The secondary group, and all of them are just as important, it would be those who are in the moderately to high suggestibility. Now, I want you to think about this. If you look throughout history of non-consensual experimentation we have done, not only here in the United States, but throughout the world. We can talk about the LSD experiments in San Francisco. We can talk about the Tuskegee experiments where they were giving syphilis to African American men and letting it run rampant. They're back in the East Coast where they took these children and told them they had speech impediments, even though they were perfectly healthy. And before you know it, all these children had developed speech impediments. Ewan Cameron, who is the one I like to talk about now, because when you look at what he was doing, the United States was giving funding so that he can develop a way to reprogram the human brain. And so they were looking at ways and techniques to erase memories and to reimplant false memories in them. And they were using a technique called psychic driving, where they'd put a helmet over the head after drugging them and play tape recordings over and over and over again. Now let's take the advancement in technology. What these diplomats were complaining about is hearing a signal. Now you get someone who's highly suggestible and you've done this to them, you can get them to act out like the Aaron Alexises and the Myron Mays. Okay. Now this is a very small percentage, but the fact is, what about those in general society who are completely unaware that this is there and they have these devices in them and are unaware and are wondering why their life is so unstable? What happens when it's being done to them? So basically, with the advent of technology and AI, you can transmit 24/7, 47 days, our yearly term, 24/7. Eventually, the psychic driving is going to take. So this is why it's important that we are out there now, because this phenomenon is being broadcasted everywhere. 60 Minutes had just done a whole segment on the Havana Syndrome.